Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Inside LSU Baseball. I'm your host, Jason Armstrong, coming to you on a Monday. That's a great Monday because your LSU Tigers just went to Norman, Oklahoma, and swept a top 10 team, getting 3 wins, which was a great, not expected, but they get a sweep over the Sooners and marking the first time that the Tigers swept a top 10 team in an SEC road series since 1997. So it doesn't happen every day that you go on the road and sweep a good SEC team. So we'll take it. LSU improves to 30-3 on the season, 10-2 in SEC play, puts them in really good position. Oklahoma dropped to 23-8 on the year, 5-7 in conference play. And what was really impressive about this weekend was it was a tough weekend to play baseball in. The conditions were just terrible. It was cold. It was windy, and sometimes that can really neutralize a very offensive team like LSU. But look, this team has shown a lot of mental toughness the week before with the rain delays and the late nights against Mississippi State, and then you're on the road at in Norman, Oklahoma, with just cold, just uncomfortable weather, and you go 6-0 in those two scenarios. So great job by LSU. And I was looking back at this, but in the last 3 weeks, LSU does a really good job against SEC aces. They have beaten now Jared Spencer from Texas. They have beaten Pico Khan and now Kyson Witherspoon. And if you just saw what Jared Spencer did to that Georgia offense, I mean, those are 3 big-time aces, and LSU has done really well. They've won all 3 games against those aces. So let's get to the series. And LSU won game 1 2-0, and what will go down as the Kade Anderson legacy game. Offensively, the Tigers scored a run in the third and then 1 run in the fifth, and that was all the scoring done in this game. That was it. 2-0 game. Anderson ran his record of 6-0, tossing the first complete game shutout since 2018. And listen, that's hard to do against Fairleigh Dickinson, let alone a top 10 SEC team on the road. So his final line, Anderson went 9 innings, gave up 5 hits, 0 earned runs. That'll be something that you hear a lot from me today when talking about the pitching. Only 2 walks and 14 strikeouts. In Kade Anderson threw 135 pitches. You just don't see that anymore in this day and age, where a guy goes out and goes over 100 pitches that much. I'm fine with it. Some might not like that, but hey, it was a great effort. He threw of the 135 pitches, 91 of them were strikes. That's 67% strikes, and he was just cruising. I love the way that he was able to land all of his pitches. Talk a little bit more about that. Per Bill Franquez, this was the highest number we have recorded is 156 pitches by Bo Pettit in 2002. I think Lane Mestape threw something like 150-ish. But look, 135 is getting up there. And look, Anderson was special. There were 50 scouts on hand. I know you heard this in the broadcast. Todd Walker mentioned this because with Witherspoon going against Anderson, there was a lot of scouts to see what these guys were going to do. And, he's just coming off of his worst outing of the whole year last weekend, and then just to bounce back like that, just very good sign for LSU. Now, Oklahoma loaded the bases in the first inning. After a leadoff strikeout, they got back-to-back singles, and one of them was because of I hate the shift, and I guess it's great when it works, but you know what? When they hit a routine ground ball and you're not there to field it, it's so frustrating. But anyway, they get the back-to-back singles, then they get a walk, and so you got bases loaded and 1 out, and then Kade Anderson goes 1-2 blows a fastball by him for a strikeout. Next guy, 0-2, strikeout again, blows a fastball right by the hitter. So even the inning that the Sooners put pressure on Anderson was like one of his better innings. He strikes out the side. Now, Oklahoma starter Kyson Weatherspoon, his record went to 5-2 with the loss. He allowed 2 runs on six hits, and he threw 6 innings. He only had 1 walk and 4 strikeouts. So he pitched really well. I mean, Kyson Weatherspoon had good stuff. So, really good job of pulling out this win. But look, Witherspoon retired 9 of the first 10 batters he faced. LSU then staged a 2-out rally in the top of the third to score the first run of the game. Derek Curiel doubled, and then first baseman Jared Jones singled on a 3-2 count. That was just a beautiful piece of hitting. Went with the pitch and gave the Tigers a 1-0 advantage. LSU then increased the lead to 2-0 in the 5th when Luis Hernandez lined a leadoff double. He moved to third on a sac bunt by Tanner Reeves. And then he scored on an RBI single by Chris Stanfield. That was a great job because it was an 0-2 count. And I believe it was a slider that just didn't slide a whole bunch, and it kind of backed up, and it was one of those that kind of gets inside on your hands. And a lot of times that ball winds up going opposite field, and he hit it down to right field, and Hernandez Stanfield combo all weekend was good. All weekend. But that gives LSU a 2-0 lead. So Anderson goes out for the bottom of the 5th, and he's got a 2-0 lead and has a 9-pitch inning. And there's nothing more important than after you score than going out and having a shutdown inning. He gets a foul out, a fly out, and a strikeout. And that's just huge. So the bottom of the 6th was just as big because Christensen, the left-handed hitting, I don't remember what position he played. He leads off with a double. And then Kade Anderson digs deep. So this is you're in a 2-0 game, and they've got the leadoff batter on second base. And Kade Anderson is facing one of their best players, the shortstop, Willits. And he goes 0-2, strikeout. Next batter, Branch, the second baseman, 1-2, strikeout. So now you got 2 outs, runner on second. And then Dickerson, I believe he was the DH, the big freshman, he goes 0-2, strikeout. So they get a guy on second base with no outs, and he goes strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. That was just huge, huge. After that double by Christensen, Anderson then retired the next 12 straight. Not a single base runner. I mean, you talk about just on his game. I was actually surprised that Oklahoma didn't try to bunt there and maybe move a runner over with a guy on second and no outs. And who knows if it winds up working or not. But there was a couple of instances when I thought that Oklahoma would have maybe tried to move a runner. It's not like they were hitting them great. But from the 7th inning on, offensively, LSU did pretty much nothing. They chased Kyson Witherspoon after Luis Hernandez led off the 7th with a double, and they brought in Jamie Hitt, the lefty. LSU missed the squeeze ball. I think Stanfield missed a sign, or somebody did. That was an opportunity to get another run, but they didn't. And but LSU just didn't do anything else offensively. And this has happened a couple of times. I don't know if it's they prepare so well for the starter. We saw this in the Texas series against Max Grubbs. We saw this in the Mississippi State series when Chase Hungate came in the game. And, we saw it a couple times this weekend. But LSU failed to tack on there. I thought Cade's day was done when he started the 8th inning. He was 3-0 to the leadoff hitter, Jason Walk. He was able to get back to 3-1, and then Walk hit a dribbler back to Anderson, and he just made an incredible play to get him out at first base. Just what an incredible performance by Kade Anderson. Oklahoma got the leadoff hitter on one time in 9 innings. And Anderson just induced a lot of swing and miss from this Oklahoma lineup. His changeup was to thank for that, in my opinion. It was the most I've seen him throw his changeup. And that's why you see a lot of swing and miss on the fastball, is because they have to respect that changeup. He got him whiffing at the changeup. He got strikeouts by the fastball, changeup, slider, and curveball. All 4 pitches Anderson got Oklahoma hitters to go down on, and go down swinging on, which is even more impressive. Now, I talked about LSU's offense kind of vanishing. They did just a little bit more than Oklahoma did. They only out-hit Oklahoma 6-5. That was it. And good thing that Anderson turned in this, performance of a lifetime, because, and I'm not trying to nitpick, because LSU made the big hits. They got the runs in when they needed them. But it took everything Kade Anderson had. I mean, you got 6 hits for the entire game. Curiel doubled. Luis Hernandez had 2 doubles. Stanfield had a double. The best part of this win, other than the complete game shutout by Kade Anderson, is that you won the game without burning either Cowan or Evans. And I talked about this in the preview, that you either needed to win the first 2 games of the series, or if you dropped one, you needed to have one of those 2 relievers ready for game 3. Well, you're already in game 2, and you've got both of those guys now available. So that sets you in pretty good shape. So game 2, LSU clinched the series with a 10-2 victory. Chris Stanfield collected 4 hits, 2 doubles, 4 RBIs, and he really led the attack. It was a 15-hit attack by this LSU offense. They just went crazy. Right fielder Josh Pearson launched 2 solo home runs. Love seeing that. Second baseman Danny Dickinson blasted another home run. And the offense just really, and again, this wasn't a great hitting environment this weekend, but they really showed up. Anthony Einson brought his record to 5-0. He earned the win, and it was his longest SEC outing of the season. That was very good to see. That's 2 really good outings in a row. He worked 5 2/3, and he limited this Sooner offense, who's really a decent offense, to 2 unearned runs on 3 hits, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts, and he threw 62% strikes. Obviously, there was no unearned runs against Anderson because they didn't score any. The 2 runs they got game 2 against Einson were both unearned. Great job by him. And, he wasn't great the first inning. Like when he first went out there, Einson, he didn't really have his stuff. I was a little concerned, but he found it at the end of that first inning and then for the rest of the game. Kason Evans picked up his 6th save of the year, looked just like Kason Evans does, worked the final 3 1/3 innings, allowing just 2 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts. He threw 65% strikes. What a weapon this guy is, truly. And I mentioned it, but when this game's starting, I'm a little concerned with the way that Einson is looking. He gets in the bottom of the first, you get a 2-0 fly out. So Oklahoma helped him out. And then Gamble comes up, the second hitter. He goes 3-0. 3-0, 4-pitch walk. Carmichael comes up and he singles. Willits comes up, 2-1 fly out. So far, he's barely thrown any strikes. And then he got the off-speed going. He winds up striking out Christensen on a 1-2 pitch. But again, he threw 4 strikes, and got out the inning unscathed. So LSU struck first in the top of the second inning. They had runners on second and third with no outs. And then Hernandez and Reeves both went down on strikes. For the second straight game, Stanfield comes up with an enormous run-scoring double, and this time it was good for 2 runs driven in. Curiel followed with a double, so he switched places with Stanfield, and then Jones comes up and drove in Curiel with an RBI single. So just like that, it's 4-0. Just like that. Oklahoma comes back, and they answered with a couple of runs of their own. And this is in the bottom of the third, and both unearned, and that was all the scoring that they would do. So that's it for them. Game was 4-2 entering the 6th inning. So top of 6, you go out. Cade Crossland is on the hill still for Oklahoma. His stat line didn't look great. He had 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs. But he's a good pitcher, and he can mix up speed. So he goes out top of the 6th. He's still in the game, and Josh Pearson's up, and Pearson can hit lefties, and he took them deep. So he hits a home run to lead off the inning that puts LSU up 5-2. LSU then added another run on an error in the 6th inning, which was a really weird play. It was almost like the first baseman forgot there was 1 out, and they were trying to turn 2. I don't know if they get the runner at first or not, but the first baseman ran off the bag. So they throw it to first. There's nobody there. So anyway, they go up 6-2 in that scenario. LSU then tacked on, I think, another 4 runs in the 9th. Pearson hit another home run. Dickinson homered. Stanfield smacked a 2-run double. So the game kind of got away from them, from Oklahoma. But Case and Evans relieved Ianson in the 6th inning. Ianson had struck out the first 2 batters, and then he issued a 3-2 walk. So that put him over 107 pitches. Well, look, once you get to the 6th inning, you know that you're in like Case and Evans, Zach Cowan territory. So Evans comes in. He allows a single to the first batter he faced before he gets a strikeout. He then gave up a leadoff single in the 7th inning, and then he mowed down the Sooners. He retired 9 of the final 10. Only 1 batter reached base, and that was on an error to right field that Josh Pearson looked like a ball he could have gotten to, but he dropped it. So he hit his glove. And Evans struck out all 3 batters in the 9th inning. So as spectacular as game 1 was, the game 2 victory to me felt more like a team win. You had a really nice start from Ianson. Case and Evans did his thing. Then you had multiple hitters getting involved, with Stanfield being the hero, going, 4 for 5 with 4 RBIs. But you had Jared Jones went 3 for 6. Dickinson was 2 for 4. Pearson had the 2 home runs. Hernandez was 2 for 5. You just had a lot of production all across the board. So Tigers win the series after 2 games. And game 3, they come out and they get the sweep with a 3-2 win. And I think that the big question was, we just all wanted to see Chase Shores. It was a big, the fact that you won the series was great, but you're there to win every game. You're not there to win just the series. And Chase Shores, he comes out and he works a career high 5 innings, which was awesome to see. And he limited Oklahoma to 1 unearned run on 3 hits, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts. So if you're doing the math, that's 0 unearned runs the entire weekend. The defense was on display. Look, the bottom of the first, Curiel makes a sliding catch. I think it was Gamble hit the left-handed hit one that was kind of running back towards left field line. Curiel, they kind of had him positioned perfect, comes in, makes a sliding catch. And then the third out in the inning, Jake Brown, I don't know, I would say crashed, made the catch, falling against the right field wall. So that was just a great job. The defense was really good all weekend. Just the infield, the outfield, just a really good job once again. But LSU grabbed the 2-0 lead in the top of the second when Oklahoma second baseman Kyle Branch, who's really been good, he let a routine 2-out ground ball hit by Derek Curiel go right under his glove with the bases loaded. It looked like the end of the inning. Instead, LSU's got a 2-0 lead. Sooners come back and they narrow it to 2-1 in the bottom of the second. They loaded the bases with 1 out. Shores would then strike out the next 2 batters, but there was like a cross up. So there's 2 outs and the left-handed batter's up, and I don't know what the problem was. It was a passed ball. I'm assuming it was a cross up. I don't know, but it looked like something that Hernandez could have blocked, but maybe it was just the one that got away from him. But anyway, with the bases loaded, it gets to the backstop, so Oklahoma makes it 2-1, and then 2 pitches later, Shores gets the strikeout to the same batter. So again, a good job by Chase Shores right there to limit the damage, and really outside of a first and third with 2 outs opportunity in the third inning, Shores was in control. I mean, he threw 85 pitches. He looked really good. It was very reassuring. LSU added a run in the fourth, and just like the first 2 games, the bottom of the lineup guys were involved. So Hernandez led off with a double that didn't amount to a run because he was thrown out at home plate. Stanfield hit like a grounder to I think he had 2 strikes, hit a ground ball to the second baseman, and they were playing in. So they threw Hernandez out at the plate. But his double, Hernandez's double allowed Curiel to get up in that inning. So, and look, you give Curiel credit for hitting a double down the left field line that ultimately scored Stanfield. But if Hernandez doesn't get that double to lead off the inning, you don't even get back to Curiel. But listen, that play right there wound up being the difference in the game. Curiel's hit, Stanfield was running on the pitch and scored all the way from first base. And if you go back and look, so great job of hitting by Curiel to hit the ball down the left field line. The outfielder got to it relatively quickly. If you go back and look at the video, Stanfield is just a vet. He wasted no space. His turn coming around third base was tight. I mean tight. And he's fast. And it was a bang-bang play at home plate. I believe the catcher might have dropped the ball. I don't know if he would have been safe, but he was safe. So that puts you up 3-1, and ultimately you win by a run. So LSU didn't score another run off of Oklahoma pitching. Just like other times I've mentioned, the relievers come in and sometimes I don't know if it's just LSU does so well of preparing for the starter, but good thing that Cowan sealed the deal for the final 4 innings. He comes in, he retires the first 8 batters he's faced. So listen to this. He throws a total of 3 balls. So he records 8 outs, throwing just 3 balls. I mean, the guy is just so good. Oklahoma had 2 on in the 8th, and Cowan got a ground ball that Jones, this might get overlooked. Jones made a great play. It was kind of a slow roller to first base that he came in and he scooped it like right between hops and got it to Cowan covering first base, and that ended the inning. And I talked about the defense. Dickinson made a couple of plays where it was the 3rd out of the inning where he was shifted way in the hole going towards first base to make a throw to first. He also made one up the middle where he threw it across his body. Defense was just really, really, really good. The 9th inning got a little hairy. I'm not going to lie. I was nervous. After a leadoff error that was charged to Braswell, which I don't think was an error. It was a slow roller that I think was a hit. But the Sooners got a 2-out RBI single to close the gap to 3-2. Then they get an uncharacteristic 4-pitch walk by Zach Cowan, which put the tying run on second base. So you've got first and second 2 outs. It's 3-2, and Trey Gamble is up at the plate, and he's leading the team in hitting. And I love the sequence here. So first pitch, Cowan is known for his changeup. He throws a changeup, and Gamble comes out of his shoes swinging. So it's 0-1. The next pitch, Cowan comes back with a fastball on the outside corner. Gamble looks at. So he gets him first swinging at a changeup, probably looking changeup again. Cowan throws a 91-mile-an-hour fastball in there on the outside corner. So at this point, it's 0-2. Cowan then comes back. The next 2 pitches were on the outside corner changeups. Well, it's 2-2 now. So it's 2-2, and you got runners on first and second. The last thing you want to do is walk them. So I'm thinking, man, I feel so comfortable with this changeup. Please throw the changeup. Well, I see Hernandez set up inside, and I'm going, oh no. Oh no. If he misses with a fastball over the middle, please don't do that. Go with the best pitch you got to change up. But you know what? Good thing they're not listening to me, and Nate Yeske's calling a masterful game. Gamble was obviously looking change up. Cowan throws a fastball in the inside corner and got on him just enough to where he couldn't really pull it. He hit a fly ball to center field. And that is your game. And that is the series. So Tigers get the sweep. But don't be fooled by thinking that this was like some dominant 3-game series. And yes, it was a great job of going on the road and getting a sweep, but this was a close series. You throw out game 2. The 2 games that the Witherspoon brothers pitched in game 1 and game 3, both of those guys threw 6 innings. I believe that Kyson, the ace who threw game 1, gave up 2 earned runs. Malachi, game 3, only gave up 1 earned runs. And then both of those games, they brought in a relief pitcher who threw the final 3 innings of the game. LSU did nothing against them. Nothing. And in both of those 2 games that I just mentioned, so one of them you win by 2 runs, the other you win by a run, LSU only out-hit Oklahoma 6-5. So 2 very tight wins, and then the middle game, got out of hand. But ultimately, it was a great sweep, a great job of going on the road and winning 3 games. But, it's easy to lose sight and go, man, those games are close to going the other way. It took like almost perfect execution by everybody involved. LSU only used 5 pitchers. So for the weekend, let's talk about the offense. The offense out-hit Oklahoma 27-15 thanks to that game 2 15 hit outburst by LSU. LSU hit 27 for 102, which is 265. But the difference, I believe, was the extra base hit. So LSU hit 265, but they had 9 doubles and 3 home runs. Couple of standouts. His numbers weren't great. He only hit 250 for the weekend, but Derek Curiel was 3 for 12. He had 3 doubles, and he had a double in each of the 3 games. He did knock in 4 RBIs, and look, he's still got that streak going. But Curiel's hitting 340 right now in SEC play. He's got a team-leading 1,061 OPS in SEC play, which OPS is the ability of a player to both get on base and hit for power. He's doing both. I mean, this is a guy who's hitting 390 over 33 games for the year and leads the team with a .535 on-base percentage. He's also leading the team with 12 doubles. Now, Jared Jones, another standout on the weekend. He went 5 for 14, so he hit 357. He had 5 singles. He had a hit in all 3 games. All 3 games he had a hit. So just really showing a lot of maturity. His strikeouts are getting, can get up a little bit at times, but it's not like just homer or bust. I mean, the guy's coming through with timely base hits. How about this stat? Jared Jones has 3 or more hits and 25% of the games played this year. 3 or more hits in a quarter of the games played. I mean, he's like a hit machine. Another guy we got to talk about, Luis Hernandez, 6 for 12 on the weekend. I mean, you'll take 500 any day. He hit 3 doubles. He had 3 multi-hit games. He's the only player on in LSU's lineup that had 3 multi-hit games this weekend against Oklahoma. 340 SEC batting average, so that's tied with Curriel for the second highest on the team. His 4 conference home runs leads the team, and he leads the team in slugging in conference play. So, I mean, just what a great job of getting better as the year goes by. And this is a 7-hole hitter nobody wants to face. And as we talk about the 7-hole hitter, what about a 9-hole hitter? Chris Stanfield, 5 for 10 on the weekend. Hit 3 doubles, 5 RBIs. He's hitting .375 in SEC play, which leads the team. His 8 conference doubles is not only does it lead the team, it's twice as much as anybody else has. You got a couple of guys tied for second with 4. So, I mean, Chris Stanfield is just such a pleasant surprise for this offense. Josh Pearson, I want to shout out Josh Pearson. He didn't play one of the games, so he went 2 for 8 with 2 home runs, but he was better than that stat line. In game 2, it took a great play up the middle where Branch kind of came in, threw across his body to get Pearson out. That was very close to being a hit. And then in game 3, he lined out to the shortstop who was playing literally behind second base. They were shifted, and it was a line out. So Pearson easily could have had 4 hits this weekend, and he came through with the 2 big home runs. So pitching was the story of the weekend. 27 innings, 0 earned runs. I don't know when we're going to ever see that again. 12 walks to 35 strikeouts. And I mentioned this as the difference in this series, but Oklahoma was 15 for 96. They only hit 156, but the difference I'm talking about, they only had 2 extra base hits. They had 2 doubles. That's it. So you compare that to LSU's 9 doubles and 3 home runs. So that was really a big difference in this series. But all 3 starters were great. The outings you got out of Anderson, Ianson, and Shores, I mean, together, what did you get? 35 strike. That was all together. So you got 8, 22, 26 strikeouts from your 3 starters with only, 10 walks. Great job by them. And then you cannot say enough about Kason Evans and Zach Cowan and what those 2 guys bring to the table. In conference play right now, your game 1 and game 2 starters are very good. I mean, Anderson's got a 3.51 ERA. Ianson's got a 3.86 ERA in conference play. Kade Anderson's got 6 walks to 38 strikeouts. Just really good. And Chase Shores did a lot to help his earned run average with the outing that he just had. He's still got a little high ERA at 6.48, but he did a great job over the weekend. Listen to this. Zach Cowan, 0.61 ERA in conference play in 5 appearances. Kason Evans, 0.68. I mean, these 2 guys combined have thrown 28 innings and have given up 2 earned runs between the 2 of them. That's over 9 outings. And if you look at just the overall pitching, Kade Anderson is 6-0 on the year with a 2.85 ERA, 12 walks to 75 strikeouts over 8 starts. Ianson, 15 walks to 66 strikeouts. Teams are only hitting 219 against them. Now, Chase Shores overall he's got respectable 4.66 ERA, 18 walks to 39 strikeouts. And then, Cowan and Evans, I mean, we talked about the SEC, but just overall, they're yet to have a bad outing. I mean, both guys are under 1 ERA. And that is just such a weapon. I mean, those 5 guys right there are going to make it tough for teams to beat. So what's next for the Tigers? You got Tuesday night, you go to Nickel State. You're going to play in front of a packed house. And then you go to Auburn for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. You come home from McNeese, and then you got a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series against Alabama. So that's what's up next. This Nichols game Tuesday night is pretty important because when you only throw, I mean, it's a given. You're not going to pitch those 5 guys that pitch this weekend on midweeks, but like nobody else got to throw. So this is an important game. You need guys to get back in there like William Schmidt. You're going to need Maverick Rizzi. You need to see Connor Ware. I'd like to see Jaden Newt. So it's going to be a big game for to get those arms back in the mix. Because look, as much as we want to go through every weekend using only 5 guys, somebody's going to have an off day. It's going to take somebody else. So we got to get a couple more guys in the mix. Now, when you look around the conference, things just got really interesting over the weekend, and it's going to set up for one of the best conference weekends as far as matchups goes this year. But 2 teams that were at the top of the conference got humbled. Tennessee dropped 2 of 3 to 1-8 A&M, and then Georgia got swept by Texas. So a lot of interesting things going on this past weekend. Speaking of A&M, they're now sitting at 3-9. I mean, they were dead. They're now sitting at 3-9, and they've got South Carolina, who's not a very good team, going to Bluebell Park Field, whatever you call it. So who knows? I mean, look, even if A&M were to just win the series, I mean, 5-10 at the halfway point, that's 2 games better than LSU was last year. So now the strength of schedule down the stretch is much harder for A&M, but they're back in it. Tennessee now is set up to go to Ole Miss. So you got the number 5 with the new D1 rankings, number 5 Tennessee going to number 6 Ole Miss. You got number 2 Texas going on the road to Kentucky after getting up for a big series against Georgia. That is going to be a tough series. And then you got number 1 team, the newly ranked number 1 team Arkansas going to Georgia. So Georgia's really good at home. So just a lot of big series. Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and of course LSU, Auburn. Going to be a great, great weekend in the SEC. Current standings, Arkansas sits atop at 11-1, actually tied with Texas. So 2 11-1 teams. LSU's right behind them at 10-2. And then you've got Tennessee 9-3, and then Georgia, Ole Miss 8-4, and then you've got that next mix of like Alabama, Vandy at 7-5, Auburn 6-6. But even the teams that were at the very bottom this going into the weekend, that was a big series win for Mississippi State. They go now on the road to Alabama. I mean, that's a series they can win. It's not going to be easy, but be interested to see if Mississippi State can turn it around. This is just such a good conference. One thing I'll mention is it's funny how this LSU team has kind of just flown under the radar. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're disrespected. They were ranked number 1. They were ranked number 8. Then they moved up to 7 after they swept Mississippi State. Now they're up to number 3 in the new rankings. But like when you hear the elite teams talked about, you hear a lot about Tennessee and Arkansas and Georgia, and now Texas. And these teams are all put kind of on a pedestal with LSU in that next group of teams. And the Tigers just continue to work things out on the pitching side of things, rack up winning weekends, and they've experienced enough adversity and growing pains with the younger guys that they're prepared for this SEC gauntlet and beyond. I like this team a whole lot. I think the offense, if you really look at this offense 1 through 9, I don't know who you want to pitch to. And I'm not singling out anybody, but, up until, probably still, Tennessee is looked at as like the premier offense. I might get some blowback for this, but I look at the Tennessee lineup and I see a few outs in that lineup. It's not like 9 guys that you just can't get out. I mean, and I look at other offense, it's the same way. I don't know who you want to pitch to in this offense. From a defensive perspective, this defense is incredible. The pitching, you've got 2 starters that are going to be as good as anybody else's 1-2 punch. And now you're starting to see Chase Shores get better. And this is a guy who's throwing 98 miles per hour on Sundays with a very good slider. His control's getting a little better. And then you got 2 guys coming out of the bullpen that are basically just, you can't do anything with them at all. This is one of the, I hesitate to say I think it's the best team in the country, because let's see what happens. Let's see what happens this weekend. They go on the road to Auburn. It's going to be a very tough series. That's a good offensive team. The pitching's been pretty good. But this is a team I like where LSU is a lot right now. A whole lot. So Tuesday night, Nickel State will be back to do another preview episode after the midweek game. And we'll just kind of recap the midweek game. And then I will bring you up to speed and give you everything you need to know about Auburn. And really excited about that series as well. So if you love LSU baseball, which I think we all do if you're listening to this podcast, this season is flying by. So we got to cherish it, because we're already about to be at the halfway mark of conference play. And good night. It seems like we've been just counting down the days to opening pitch. So, but that's going to do it for this episode of Inside LSU Baseball. Thanks for joining me, and we will see you soon.